Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is George Herrera with the Queens Home Team at Keller Williams Realty. In today's video, I'm answering the question, what happens if something isn't working by the time you get to the final walkthrough? So once you go through the buying process, when you get to the very last steps, there's the final walkthrough before closing. And it's usually a day or a few days before the actual closing date. When you go to the final walkthrough, you're going through just to really make sure that the house is in the same condition as it was when you previously saw it, when you had your home inspection done. And you're also making sure that all the major components are in working order and that there are no active leaks, right? So at the final walkthrough, you're usually, you should be testing out all the outlets, testing out all the appliances, testing out all the light fixtures, testing the plumbing, the heating, the electrical, etc., right? And making sure that there's no active moisture or water getting into the house. Now, what happens if something is actually wrong or not working? And this is fairly common. It does happen where you get to the final walkthrough. Many times with vacant homes, this is very possible because nobody has been there to maintain the home during the sale. So when you get to the final walkthrough, if something is off, meaning there's an active leak somewhere, or there's electrical outlets that aren't working, or some fixtures that aren't working, any kind of heating that isn't working in one room or another, these are all items that you would want to note down and then hand them or explain them to your attorney. So this is usually handled by the attorneys. Many times they're minor, so many times they can be minor things that can be resolved via a credit. And if there are larger issues that come up at the final walkthrough, then many times that can result in money being held in escrow and then the owners being responsible for curing it, or the new owners being responsible for curing it, but the money in escrow is what the sellers put up as their skin in the game, just making sure that it gets resolved one way or another. So if something's wrong and they're minor, usually they're resolved in the form of a credit. So if heating isn't working in one of the rooms, we've had that happen in the past where heating was working, one room the heat wasn't working, so that became a credit at the closing. It's negotiated between the attorneys typically at the closing or right before closing, and you come to an agreement on what the credit will be from the seller to the buyer in lieu of that heating not working or of that minor issue. When the issues are larger, so let's say there's a leak in the roof, or let's say that plumbing is not working in many areas, or if heat is not working throughout the whole house, for example, something more major, then many times that can lead to money being held in escrow, right, whereby the owner is responsible for curing the issue and the money is held in escrow. If they don't do it, then that's what they risk losing. Or it can be a credit. Still, it can be in the form of a credit, but if it's major issues that come up at final walkthrough, then the credits tend to be much larger. So they can be bigger credits because it's a more involved or more expensive repair. And the worst case scenario, which also can happen, is that closing can get postponed. So if the issue is really major and the buyer doesn't feel comfortable closing with that issue open, then it can also lead to the closing being postponed and the seller being required to actually make the repair before you close. Again, no matter what issues come up at final walkthrough, just make a list of them, share them with your attorney, and so that they can negotiate whatever credits or whatever the resolution will be with the other attorney. So you want to share it with your attorney, but don't bring up issues for normal wear and tear. This is for major components, anything major that's not delivered in working order, then those are the items that you would want to have addressed. Okay, hopefully that answers the question. If you have any other questions that you'd like us to cover on the channel, please drop them in the comments below. We're always looking for new content and we need new topics for all of our audience. So feel free to drop anything in the comments below. Thanks as always for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Take care and have a great day.